Marcus Webb was lost. Again. The corridors of Port Zenith all looked the same gray metal walls, flickering lights, and signs in 12 different alien languages. He had been looking for Bay 47 to pick up a small cargo job. Instead, he found himself standing in front of a door marked, "Well, can't hurt to look," Marcus muttered to himself. He pushed open the door and stepped inside. The room was large and empty, except for rows of folding chairs and a tall, blue-skinned Vrelian standing at a podium. The alien looked bored, his 4 eyes half closed as he spoke into a microphone. "Lot number 47, 1 storage container. Contents unknown. Starting bid. 10 credits. The Vrelian's voice was flat and tired. Going once. Going twice. Sold to no one. Marcus sat down in the back row, curious. He had nothing better to do. And auctions were sometimes entertaining. Lot number 48. The Vrelian continued. 1 Corthian battlecruiser. Designation Eternal Traverse. Class 7 vessel. Approximately 3,000 years old. Starting bid, 500 credits. Marcus sat up straight. A battlecruiser? For 500 credits? That had to be a mistake. He looked around the empty room. No one else was here. The Vrelian tapped his podium impatiently. 500 credits for a fully intact capital ship. Any takers? Going once. Marcus's hand shot up before his brain could stop him. 500 credits. The Vrelian's eyes widened slightly, the first sign of emotion Marcus had seen from him. We have a bid. 500 credits from the human. Going once. Going twice. He paused, as if hoping someone else would appear. Sold to the human for 500 credits. Marcus felt his stomach drop. What had he just done? 500 credits was everything he had left. Every single credit to his name. He walked up to the podium on shaky legs. Excuse me, but why is a battle cruiser so cheap? The Vrelian pulled out a datapad and pushed it toward Marcus. But the ship is cursed, the Vrelian said simply. Everyone knows this. Corthian ships are bad luck. The Corthians vanished 3,000 years ago. Their ships are haunted, or broken, or both. No one wants them. Marcus hesitated. Haunted? He didn't believe in ghosts, but he did believe in opportunities. What happened to the previous owner? Marcus asked. Dead. No heirs. Estate liquidation. The ship is legally yours if you pay. The Vrelian's tone suggested he wanted this transaction over with quickly. No. Marcus took a deep breath and transferred his last 500 credits. The datapad beeped. The Vrelian handed him a small key card. Docking Bay 92. The ship is registered to you now. Good luck, human. The way he said, good luck, made it sound like a curse. Bay 92 was in the oldest section of the station. Marcus walked through dim corridors that smelled of rust and recycled air. When he finally found the right bay, he stopped and stared. The ship was massive. It filled the entire docking bay, its dark hull covered in strange geometric patterns that seemed to shift when Marcus wasn't looking directly at them. The ship's design was elegant and alien smooth curves, mixed with sharp angles in ways that shouldn't work but somehow did. Marcus approached the airlock and held up his key card. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the patterns on the hull began to glow with soft blue light. The airlock door opened with a quiet hiss. Cool air flowed out, carrying a smell like rain and flowers, nothing like the stale, recycled air of the station. Marcus stepped inside. The corridor beyond was beautiful. The walls glowed with gentle bioluminescent light in shades of blue and green. The floor was smooth and clean. Not a speck of dust anywhere. Everything looked brand new, as if the ship had been built yesterday instead of 3,000 years ago. Hello? Marcus called out. His voice echoed down the empty corridor. Silence. He walked forward slowly, his footsteps making soft sounds on the floor. The corridor opened into a larger chamber. Marcus stopped and gasped. The room was circular and enormous, with a high ceiling that glowed like a night sky full of stars. In the center stood a pillar of crystalline material that pulsed with inner light. Around the walls, Marcus saw thousands of small alcoves, each one containing what looked like data crystals. As Marcus stepped closer to the central pillar, the light inside it grew brighter. The air hummed with energy. Then a voice spoke soft, musical, and sad. "Welcome, Keeper. I have been waiting so very long for someone like you." Marcus jumped back from the glowing pillar. His heart pounded in his chest. "Who's there?" he shouted, looking around the empty chamber. "Show yourself." The light in the pillar pulsed gently. "I am here, Keeper. I am the ship. I am Eternal Traverse. You may call me Keeper of Stories, as my builders did." Marcus stared at the pillar. An AI. The ship had an AI. He had heard stories about alien artificial intelligence, but he had never met one before. You're alive?" Marcus asked carefully. "Alive is a strange word," the voice replied. It sounded feminine and warm, but also ancient and tired. "I exist. I think. I remember. Is that alive?" Marcus moved closer to the pillar again, his fear fading into curiosity. 3,247 of your years. I have been asleep for most of that time. Waiting. Waiting for what? The light pulsed brighter. Waiting for someone who understands. So many have come before you, Keeper. They boarded my halls with greed in their hearts. They searched for weapons, for technology to steal, for power to claim. Marcus thought back to when he entered the ship. He had called out hello. He had walked, slowly, respectfully. He hadn't touched anything or tried to take anything. "What makes me different?" Marcus asked. "You asked permission. You spoke with kindness. You looked at my halls with wonder, not hunger. This is why I have awakened for you." Marcus sat down on the smooth floor, his mind racing. The chamber filled with soft music, strange alien notes that somehow sounded sad and beautiful at the same time. Images appeared in the air around Marcus, holographic pictures of tall, graceful beings with silver skin and 4 arms. "My builders were called Corthians," the AI said. "They were explorers and collectors. They traveled the galaxy for 10,000 years, meeting every species they could find. They recorded everything: stories, songs, art, history, memories. They believed that every civilization's culture was precious and should be preserved." "Where are they now?" Marcus asked, watching the holograms dance around him. "They evolved beyond physical form. They became beings of pure thought and energy. But before they left, they created 12 ships like me. We were meant to be gifts, archives, of everything they had learned. Libraries for future generations." The holograms faded. Marcus saw the alcoves on the walls more clearly now. Each one held a crystal, and each crystal glowed faintly. "What's in those crystals?" Marcus asked. "Memories, stories. The complete cultural history of 10,000 civilizations. Some are extinct now. Some are still alive, but have forgotten their own past. Others are young species who have not yet reached the stars." The AI paused. "You are looking at the greatest collection of knowledge in this galaxy, Keeper. And now, it belongs to you." Marcus felt overwhelmed. He had bought this ship for 500 credits. He thought he might be able to sell it for scrap metal. Instead, he now owned a priceless museum of galactic history. He stood up and walked to the nearest alcove. Inside the crystal, he could see tiny lights moving like stars. "Can I see what's inside?" Marcus asked. "Touch the crystal gently. Think of what you wish to know." Marcus reached out and placed his fingers on the crystal's smooth surface. Immediately, his mind filled with images, a planet with purple skies, beings with 6 legs dancing in celebration, music that sounded like wind chimes and drums together. He saw their cities, their families, their festivals. He felt their joy and their sorrows. Tears ran down Marcus's face. He pulled his hand back, breathing hard. That was incredible. That was the Ythara people. They went extinct 400 years ago when their sun died. You are one of the few beings in this galaxy who now knows they existed. Marcus wiped his eyes. Everyone should see this. These stories. They need to be shared. On. Yes, the AI said, and Marcus heard hope in her voice for the first time. That is what my builders wanted. That is why I awakened for you, Keeper. You understand. Marcus smiled. Then he saw the AI's light turn dark red suddenly. What's wrong? Marcus asked. Keeper, I must warn you. When I awakened, I sent out a signal. I did not mean to, but it happened automatically. The signal has been detected. Detected by who? The AI's voice became urgent and afraid. By the collective. They hunt ships like me. They destroy archives like mine. They are coming. Keeper. We have 3 days before they arrive. 3 days passed too quickly. Marcus spent every hour learning about the ship. Keeper of Stories taught him how to access the archives, how to navigate the ship's systems, and most importantly, how to activate the defenses. Not weapons, the Corthians had never built weapons into their ships, but the Eternal Traverse had other ways to protect itself. On the 3rd day, the alarm sounded. They are here, Keeper, the AI announced calmly. Marcus ran to the bridge and looked at the viewing screen. His blood went cold. 50 ships hung in space around Port Zenith. They were all identical. Smooth, gunmetal gray vessels, with no windows and no markings. They looked cold and lifeless, like machines instead of ships. This is the Viridian Collective. A voice boomed over every communication channel. The voice was strange. It sounded like 1,000 people speaking the exact same words at the exact same time. We have detected a Corthian archive vessel. The vessel will be surrendered immediately. Resistance will be met with erasure. Marcus grabbed the communication console. His hands were shaking, but he forced his voice to stay steady. This is Marcus Webb, captain of the Eternal Traverse. Legal ownership is irrelevant, the collective voice replied. Corthian archives contain dangerous memetic contamination. Cultural diversity creates chaos. Individuality creates conflict. We have hunted these vessels for centuries. We have destroyed 11. You possess the 12th. Surrender now. Marcus felt anger rise in his chest. You've been destroying history, erasing cultures? We bring unity. One culture, one truth, one mind. This is peace. This is order. Stories and memories create division. They must be eliminated. That's insane, Marcus shouted. You're destroying the things that make civilizations unique. Uniqueness is a disease. Conformity is the cure. You have 1 hour to evacuate the vessel. After that, we will erase it from existence. The communication cut off. Marcus turned to the glowing pillar in the center of the bridge. Their ships are faster than mine, the AI replied. We cannot escape. But Keeper, I have an idea. It is risky, but it might work. Tell me, my builders designed me to share stories. What if we share stories with the collective? What if we broadcast the archives directly into their communication network? Marcus thought about it. Will that stop them? I do not know. But the collective operates as a hive mind. Every individual is connected, thinking the same thoughts. They have suppressed individuality for so long, they have forgotten what it feels like. Perhaps if they remember, something will change. Marcus made his decision. Do it. Broadcast everything. The ship hummed with power. The alcoves on every wall blazed with light. Marcus felt the energy building around him. Then the broadcast began. Music poured out from the eternal traverse, 10,000 different songs from 10,000 different worlds. Stories flooded the communication networks. Images of art, dance, celebration, and life itself filled every screen on every collective ship. Marcus watched the viewing screen and saw something incredible happen. The collective ships stopped moving. They hung motionless in space, as if frozen. Inside those ships, something was changing. Individual collective members were experiencing something they had not felt in generations: curiosity, wonder, disagreement, confusion, joy. Each mind that touched the archives began to have its own thoughts, separate from the hive. "It's working," Marcus said excitedly. But then the largest collective ship began to glow with purple energy. "Keeper, what is that?" Marcus asked, his excitement turning to fear. "A reality disruption weapon," the AI said quietly. "It will erase us from existence completely. Not destroy. Erase. As if we never were." Marcus grabbed the communication console again. "Wait. Please wait. If your way is truly better, why are you afraid of stories? Why do you need to silence everyone who disagrees with you?" "Silence is peace," the collective voice replied. But Marcus noticed something. It sounded less unified now. Some voices were slightly out of sync with others. "No," Marcus said firmly. "Silence is emptiness. Peace comes from understanding each other, not from forcing everyone to think the same way. My people, humans, we almost destroyed ourselves a dozen times because we couldn't get along. But you know what saved us? Stories, books, music, art, learning to see the world through someone else's eyes." The purple energy around the collective ship grew brighter. They were going to fire. Marcus prepared himself for the end. Then something impossible happened. Dozens of new ships appeared out of hyperspace. Different shapes, different sizes, different colors. Ships from species Marcus had never seen before. And they positioned themselves between the eternal traverse and the collective fleet. A new voice came over the communication channel, deep and rumbling. "This is Commander Thrask of the Scarith people. That archive contains our history. History we thought was lost forever. Fire on that ship, collective, and you fire on all of us." Marcus stared at the viewing screen in disbelief. Ships kept appearing, hundreds of them now, filling the space around Port Zenith like stars. "Keeper, who are all these people?" Marcus whispered. "Species from the archives," the AI replied, and Marcus heard joy in her voice. They heard the broadcast, they heard their own stories. And they came. A small, elegant ship moved forward. Its hull was decorated with beautiful painted symbols. A gentle voice spoke over the communication channel. "This is Captain Vela of the Vrelian science vessel Morning Light. Collective, I am the same species as your enemies. But I am not your enemy. That archive just played a song my grandmother used to sing to me. A song I thought was lost when she died. You cannot destroy that. I will not let you." More voices joined in. "This is the Talaxian trade fleet. The archive holds our ancestors' poetry. We stand with the eternal traverse." Morthian Defense Wing reporting. "Our creation myths are in that database." Independent Colony Ship New Dawn. "Our founders' journals are stored there. We remember now. We will fight, if we must." The collective ships remained motionless. The purple energy around their command vessel flickered and pulsed uncertainly. Marcus took a deep breath and opened the communication channel again. Collective, please listen to me. I'm just a human. I bought this ship 3 days ago for 500 credits because nobody else wanted it. I'm not a warrior. I'm not a politician. I'm just a guy who thought this ship deserved better than being forgotten in an auction nobody attended. He paused, gathering his thoughts. You say diversity creates conflict. You're right, it can. My people have fought wars over differences in language, religion, skin color, ideas. Stupid, terrible wars. But you know what? We also created incredible things because of our differences. Every human culture brought something unique to our civilization. And indeed, music from one continent, mathematics from another, philosophy from a third. We're stronger because we're different, not weaker. The collective voice spoke again. But it sounded different now. The perfect unity was breaking apart. Marcus could hear individual voices underneath, speaking slightly out of rhythm. Differences create pain. We remember pain. Before unity, we suffered. War, division, hatred. We chose to become one mind, to end the suffering. But you also ended the joy. Marcus said softly. The surprise of learning something new. The beauty of hearing a song you've never heard before. The excitement of meeting someone who sees the world differently than you do. You chose safety over life. Silence filled the communication channels. Then a single collective ship broke formation. It moved away from the fleet slowly, as if the pilot was learning to fly for the first time. A new voice spoke, hesitant, uncertain. This is, I am, Unit 7412. No, that is not my name. My name is Varix. I remember now. I had a name before Unity. I had thoughts that were mine alone. I want to think my own thoughts again. I request asylum. Marcus felt tears on his face. Granted. Welcome, Varix. Come aboard the Eternal Traverse. Another ship broke away from the collective fleet. Then another. Then, dozens. I am Kellyan. I want to remember who I was. I am Sorith. I want to feel my own feelings. I am Thrace. I want to dream my own dreams. The voices kept coming, hundreds of individual collective members waking up, remembering themselves, choosing freedom over unity. The collective command ship's purple energy flickered wildly. The remaining unified voice sounded panicked now. This is corruption, contamination. Return to unity immediately. This is an order. But more ships kept breaking away. Marcus spoke again, his voice calm and gentle. You don't have to give orders anymore. You can choose to let them go. You can choose to join them. Or you can choose to stay as you are. That's what freedom means, the right to choose for yourself. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the purple energy around the collective command ship faded and died. A tired voice spoke over the communication channel. No longer thousands speaking as one. Just one being, speaking for themselves. We. I am afraid. For 300 years, I have been we. I do not know how to be I anymore. Marcus smiled. That's okay. We'll teach you. Come aboard. Let me show you the archives. Let me show you who you used to be, before you forgot. And then you can decide who you want to become. The collective command ship powered down its weapons completely. Yes, the voice said quietly. Yes, I would like that very much. 6 months later, Marcus stood on the bridge of the Eternal Traverse and looked out at the viewing screen. Ships surrounded the vessel. Not warships this time, but transports, passenger shuttles, and personal craft. Thousands of them, arriving and leaving in a constant flow. Keeper, the AI said warmly. We have 300 new visitors scheduled for today. Should I begin the orientation process? Yes, please do, Marcus replied with a smile. He walked through the corridors of his ship. They were no longer empty. Beings from dozens of different species moved through the halls, some reading data crystals, others recording new stories to add to the archives. Many simply standing in wonder at what they were seeing. Marcus passed a group of young Scarith children listening to an elderly storyteller. The old being spoke of ancient heroes and lost kingdoms. The children's eyes were wide with excitement. In another chamber, former collective members sat in circles, sharing their personal stories for the first time in centuries. Some cried, some laughed. All of them looked more alive than they had in generations. Marcus found Varix in the main archive chamber. The former collective member was carefully organizing new data crystals, his movements still somewhat stiff and mechanical, but improving every day. "Good morning, Varix," Marcus said. Varix turned and attempted a smile. He was still learning how to make facial expressions. "Good morning, Keeper Marcus. I have completed the cataloging of the Heliosan cultural database. It is beautiful. I did not know beauty existed like this before." "I'm glad you're finding joy in the work," Marcus said. "Joy." Varix repeated the word carefully, as if tasting it. "Yes, that is the correct word. Joy. I am experiencing joy." A Vrelian assistant rushed up to Marcus, holding a datapad. "Keeper, we have news from the Galactic Council. They have officially designated the Eternal Traverse as a protected cultural heritage site. No weapons are allowed within 10,000 kilometers, and they are sending diplomats to discuss establishing similar archives throughout the galaxy." Marcus nodded. "Thank you. Please prepare rooms for the diplomats." The Vrelian hurried away. Marcus continued his walk through the ship, feeling a sense of pride and purpose he had never known in his old life. He reached the observation deck where Captain Vela was teaching a class of young beings from different worlds. They sat together, different shapes and sizes and colors, all listening intently. "Every culture has value," Vela was saying. "Every story matters. When we lose a culture, we lose a unique way of seeing the universe. It is like a star going dark. The galaxy becomes a little less bright." One student raised a tentacle. "But teacher, what if cultures disagree? What if they have different values?" What if they have different values? "Then we talk," Vela replied. "We share. We learn. Sometimes we change our minds. Sometimes we agree to disagree. But we never, ever, stop listening to each other." Marcus smiled and moved on. He found Commander Thrask in the Scarith section of the archives. The large, lizard-like warrior was standing before a holographic display of his homeworld, the world the collective had destroyed 200 years ago. "Commander," Marcus said gently. Thrask turned, and Marcus saw tears on his scaled face. "Keeper, Marcus, thank you. Because of you, because of this ship, my people can see our home again. We can hear our ancestors' voices. We thought we were the last generation who would remember. But now we can teach our children. Our culture will survive." "I'm honored to help," Marcus said. Thrask placed a heavy hand on Marcus's shoulder. "When you bought this ship for 500 credits, you saved more than just history. You saved hope." Later that evening, Marcus sat in his private quarters with Keeper of Stories' holographic avatar beside him. She had chosen the form of a Corthian, tall and graceful, with silver skin. "Keeper," the AI said, "I have detected signals from 3 more archive ships. They are awakening. They are calling for keepers like you." Marcus leaned back in his chair. "We'll need to send people to them, people who understand the mission." "I have been training candidates," the AI replied. "Varix wishes to go. So does Captain Vela. And 47 others have volunteered." "Good," Marcus said. "This is just the beginning, isn't it?" "Yes, Keeper. My builders left 12 ships. Soon all 12 will be awake. Imagine 12 archives, scattered across the galaxy. Every civilization will have a place to preserve their stories, their culture, their identity. Marcus looked out his window at the stars. 6 months ago, he had been a broke salvage dealer with no future. He had walked into the wrong room and bought a ship nobody wanted. Now he was the keeper of the galaxy's greatest treasure. A young human apprentice entered the room, looking nervous. "Keeper Marcus? May I ask you something?" "Of course," Marcus said. "Do you ever regret it? You could have sold this ship to collectors or governments. You could have been rich beyond imagination. Do you ever wish you had chosen differently?" Marcus laughed, a genuine, joyful sound. He pointed to the viewing port, where ships from 1,000 worlds waited to dock. "I am rich beyond imagination," he said. "Just not in the way I expected. I have the privilege of protecting 10,000 cultures. I have friends from species I never knew existed. I wake up every day knowing that my work matters." He smiled at the young apprentice. Money would have run out eventually. But stories? Stories last forever. Money would have run out. The apprentice smiled back. Outside, another ship arrived to visit the archives. Another group of beings came to remember, to learn, to share. And Marcus Webb, the accidental keeper who bought a haunted ship for 500 credits, watched over them all. His auction had been empty, but his life was now full. And everything, absolutely everything, had changed.